Hi guys, my name is Maria Park and this is Approach to Nerd. And in this episode, me and my good friend Quarter Life Jam, please subscribe to her channel, are doing our weekly series podcast style called Freaky Weekly. And this week we are discussing the Netflix movie Sweetheart. So Jam, what was Sweetheart about?
Okay, so Sweetheart was about a shipwreck. Apparently, these people they were all friends, and their boat sank. And Jennifer or Jen Rimming washed up on shore on an island, which we think was deserted. Um, it's really about her survival on that island, and as she's trying to survive on this island, she is encountered or she encounters a monster on that island. So it's not just about her surviving on the island alone. It's about her surviving on the island with a monster that she has no clue what it is or what it's about. So it's very, very interesting. And I really want to say that I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I did too, but we're really good friends, so we both know that as we were watching this movie, and I know you can relate to this, there were moments, a lot of moments when I was like, hell no. Like, hell to the no. Like, this movie is one of my flipping nightmares, being stranded on an island. Nobody knows where I am. I am alone, and there's a monster trying to eat me at night. That is some BS.
I mean, and as we were talking before this, I used to wear glasses before I got LASIK. I used to wear glasses, and I was always terrified that some kind of like situation would occur, be a zombie apocalypse, being stranded on an island somewhere, or anything that I would break my glasses and just be blind like for the rest of like my survival, which is why I got LASIK in the first place, so that wouldn't happen to me.
And
That's
that was a good
terrifying.
choice. I mean, you know me, I'm night blind, so I can't see the monster coming in damn way. He could be right in front of me. I'm dead. I mean, it's just what it is. Till he's literally eating my foot and dragging me back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just SOL. So let's talk
and I love.
about. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say,
I was
so we have some characters we need to talk about because we have lots of questions about,
Mhm.
that a lot of questions actually I have about this movie. Really enjoyed it, but of course we have to nitpick because I mean, why not? We'd have nothing to talk about if we didn't. Um, so we are introduced to the first guy, the first person we see outside of Jen is Brad, and Brad apparently was on the boat. So we learned later on in the movie they were on a boat. There was a big group trip, and it seems like Jen didn't really know the other people that well. She only knew her boyfriend Lucas, and so Brad is the first person that washes up, and he's got like a seashell embedded in him, and she's. Oh, she yanks it out, and I'm thinking, okay, that's probably not the best idea because everyone knows you yank out what's stopping the blood from bleeding out. You bleed out faster. So she yanks it out, and then she tells him to hold it. And I'm thinking, what kind of man or a person that is bleeding out has the pressure, in their hands and the strength to hold their own stuff? But
Well,
so
it was just weird because, like you said, that's the first thing that you don't want to do, and you don't because she went off to go get him some water, but you probably need to focus on his wound first, and then go get him some water. Those coconuts ain't going nowhere, girl.
yeah, I was like, as soon as she did that, I'm like, he's dead.
Yep.
Sure enough, she went to go get him that coconut. She took forever opening that coconut, which you tried that before, so that's hard. I've never ventured down that road, but when I was in
You don't
Hawaii, they
want
just
to.
we went to Hawaii. They just brought it to us cut, so we didn't have to worry about that. But he was just, I guess, putting pressure on his own wound. He's like slipping in and out of consciousness, so But the one thing that he said that was interesting, he was like, "Did you see it?" And so that's already foreboding. I'm just like,
Yeah.
see what, Brad? No, that actually did not come out of her mouth. I don't think I recall her saying, see what, Brad? No, it was more like,
Yeah.
somebody help. And he hold your wound. I'll go get you some water out of this coconut. Okay.
Which also, like, leads me to believe so did with the shipwreck, because I know later on we find out that it was a storm that caused it,
Yeah.
but there's an entire hole, and clearly the monster like travels through it. So did the monster cause it, or did he see the monster before he like washed up on shore? Like, at what point did they happen? I mean, did he see it?
Yeah, well, see, and this brings me to a lot of questions in this movie. So, the monster comes from this black hole, and for some reason, always came at night and would grab whatever and bring it back in the hole, I guess, to eat or whatever. I'm not sure what happens to them when they go in the hole. I'm assuming he's storing them. Maybe that's like his house with his fridge. I don't know, but
Yeah.
why did he let them get to shore? If you saw it, why didn't he just grab the guy and pull him in the hole? Why create extra work for yourself? I mean, the guy with the seashell, he couldn't go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not just grab him? I don't
Maybe
understand that.
maybe he grabbed someone else beforehand, and Brad recognized and saw him. But Brad, by that time, Brad was already far enough away from the monster. Maybe someone else got eaten in the process.
Well, see, and that's the thing that's confusing for me. So we learned that on this boat there was Brad, another guy named Zach, Jen's boyfriend Lucas, and a girl named Mia. So these were the people that were on the boat. So Zach's body washes up later, and it's like heavily messed up, like, but not eaten technically per se. I guess I can't remember. I think there were some scratch marks on him.
Which is weird because you would assume that, like, so was he eaten and then like left for dead, or like what kind of struggle happened there?
Yeah, and then when we meet Lucas later on with Mia, in the movie, it's implied that they did something to Zach first, and
Hmm.
his pocket knife was bloody. So I wonder at what stage, like, did they kill Zach and just dump him in the water, and like, the monster just took chunks and then let the rest of it float? It just, I don't understand the MO of the monster, is what I'm saying. Like, if you want an
Yeah.
easy meal, that's a drive-through meal right there. You don't have to go to the grocery store. It's just passing by, just grab it, throw it in the hole. I don't understand why all these people made it to shore in the first place.
Yeah, because they were cruising along in that raft for like a while. She was on that island for a while before they finally washed up. And you're telling me that he didn't see like this opportunity to
Yeah.
just like grab? He could have grabbed the whole thing and just like brought it down to his hole. There are two people in there.
Yeah, and then think about when after Brad dies in the beginning, the first person, she sees a suitcase and she swims out and gets the suitcase, and the suitcase is over the damn hole. Like, why didn't he just come up and say, "Hey, biatch," and pull her down?
I thought the same thing. She swam out there so many times, and I'm like, girl, if it were me, I don't have that kind of bravery. Whatever's in that suitcase, I'm not going to get.
Nope.
I'm too terrified because he clearly is faster in ocean than on land.
Because it's his environment.
Yeah, it's his environment. You don't know what the creature is at any given moment. You tell me you want to take your ass out to the water for a change of clothes. Like, I don't know because it had her clothes in it, and it had her notebook and some other stuff that really wasn't too much of a help. So fuck that suitcase. Like, let it come to me.
Let
I'm
it
not
go.
going out there.
Let it effing go. Yes.
Mm.
And then another thing about the movie that was interesting is it was assumed that this monster only came out at night. It was nocturnal. But it was getting people during the day. So she's been standing in the ocean this whole time, fishing and doing all this shit, taking a bath, washing her face, whatever. And the monster's like, "You do you, boo." And then he comes at night. And she's hiding from him. She had some pretty creative hiding spaces. But was it the first place she hid? No, the first place she hid was actually under some
Log.
like. No, I think the log was the second time. The first time she ran
Oh,
in the
yeah.
woods and she like ducked down these like in this little, not a hole, but like where a lot of leaves were, and she was
Right.
under the leaves, and he
Yeah.
like walked by. So, and in the morning he was gone. And then the next day she got in the log, and you cannot tell me this monster could not pull her out of that log. What
That's
made him
okay.
stop?
So we talk about like how strong this monster is because he's clearly strong enough to rip people apart, but he's not strong enough to like crush a log.
Yeah.
Like, was he playing with her because he was rolling around? You heard the crackling noises of the log. Like, I don't understand how he's supposed to be this really strong creature and he can't like grab this chick.
Yeah, and then when she came out of the log was like split down the middle, almost fall. It's almost like it looked like those little corn tortillas you could just pull open. He could have just like bloop, here's the meat, and then pull her ass out. I do not understand how she survived that. Hell, he could have sat on her. I'm like, he could have flipping sat on her.
He really could have. He could, or he could have. He's a very elongated creature. He could have just reached in there and grabbed her. He knew he was there. I mean, he
Yeah.
there. He could have just reached in and grab her.
He could have just
Like,
reached
ooh.
in. And then what made him stop? Like, if you were that committed to making this kind of dent in this log, why did you just say, oh, well, I only got 30 minutes on shore. I got to go back. Like, what? You know what I mean? And then I guess to carry on to that, if we know he can come out during the day, why didn't he just sit there and wait for her to crawl out? I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, biatch.
I think that's too much trouble. Maybe he can only stay up a certain amount of time. Maybe he has like I don't know. I didn't see like a blowhole or anything, but
Yeah,
like
he's
maybe
very weird looking. He looked like a horse
yeah,
with a dinosaur. And
it's weird. He looked like a weird turtle dinosaur creature.
yeah.
And okay, so
Yeah, he looked like one of those monsters they created back in the Godzilla universe back in like the 60s and 50s. Like, this is the budget we have. This is what we got.
right. Let's talk about how, okay, so on that note, let's talk about how, one, when they first introduced them, okay, so she was flagging down this, I think it was a helicopter or plane or whatever. She was flagging it down and it was flying away from her. She used her flare gun. This was at night. She used her flare gun to try to signal it. And
Yep.
the flare came down, and all you see is like the silhouette of this giant, like massive, like just dark creature. That to me was the scariest thing. That would make my heart stop. My soul would leave my body.
Oh, I shit
But
myself. I was like, fuck that.
yeah,
Like, nah,
but
we done. Put a fork in it.
But here's the thing, to me, it's scarier when you don't see the creature. So later on, when we see like the creature close up, it's like, oh, I have nothing. It's not hard hitting like it used to be.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the first thing they played. Like when you go into Netflix and you hover over a movie, instead of having a trailer, because, I guess that costs money, they don't play the whole trailer anymore. They play like a segment of a scene. And that's the scene that actually caught my attention initially. Because I was like, okay, this is messed up. But I mean, it is. I mean, it just, the flare starts going down, and then you see like the silhouette of something standing. It looks like it's standing on the water. Breaking the laws of physics. It's like, I don't know. It's the new Moses. I don't know. And I was like, this is a mess. And no, get me out of here. And then I kept thinking, so I would be alone on the island, and then that thing's looking at me all the time. I don't know. I think I might just like swim. Well, no, I wouldn't swim. I would probably leave that little beach shore area and go further into the island and see if I can find the cannibals that live there and see if they can tell me what's going on. Because we're the cannibals on that deserted island.
Like, I understand that you want to like stay near the shore area just in case like airplanes or whatever the hell. Me, if I see that creature, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go find somewhere else. Like, I'm gonna go as far away from like his little feeding hole as possible. Like, put as much distance between us. And she never really did. We say her go into the woods for like wood for fire, and she went in there to camp out. She had her, I don't know if it was like the fourth night or whatever it was, but she had the canopy up in the trees to try to hide from it. But we never see the other side of the island, which is something I would think of doing, like just getting as far away from it as possible.
Well, yeah, and then plus to add on to that, I had so many questions. Like, number one, she finds like these campsite for this family that was there. But we don't know how the family got there. Were they knocked off course? So was everybody that goes in that direction? Does this creature have the ability to form a storm underwater and just shipwreck everyone? And then where were the remains of their boat? I don't remember if we saw remains of a boat. Like, so
we did not.
That's interesting because like they look like they were having a great time. They took a picture on the island. They look happy. So I'm like, if you're taking pictures on the island, that doesn't tell me you're stranded on the island. That tells me you probably chose to go there and maybe you just died and he just dragged you under or whatever.
They took pictures of the island. Took pictures on the island. She showed a picture with the two eyes just glaring. Like nobody see that.
Well, then my thing is, if the two eyes are glaring, why is he just standing there? I mean, why did he just grab him? Like, there should be no picture evidence. He should have just grabbed this family and killed them. Like, not get a photo. Like,
maybe you did. Oh, and Mia brought up was it Mia who brought up this point? Because when her and Lucas came onto the shore, Jen was saying that she found this like graveyard for these people who the monster has killed. So, like Mia said, well, if there's no people who are on here, survived or whatever, who buried the bodies? So, and why aren't those bodies like, did he eat the rest of them too? Because he dug Brad up and went to town on them.
Yeah, he did. That was a snack for him. He was like, this is some good stuff. She buried it for me like kimchi in Korea, and I'm gonna take this home and eat it. So like he
didn't eat the other ones because we saw later on that she dug up like the bones of the other people. So what was stopping him from digging them up as well?
That is a good question. Well then. So let's talk about the airplane. Why did the airplane only fly at night? That seems problematic. I mean, you can see better during the day. So all these planes are only flying over her head at night, but none of them are flying during the day. Now, one damn plane flew over her head during the day. I don't understand that. And then plus, if that's true, and this is like an airport or like a little hangar port, whatever, I want a refund because like that means they only fly at night over dangerous terrain and in areas that are supposed to be completely deserted. Nah, that's not how that works.
Maybe those planes are just like freaks. They only come out at night.
That's what I mean. But I mean, we're learning with the monster that may not always be true. So I think for plot purposes, the planes weren't allowed to fly over her during the day because that would have made it too convenient. But the monster can function during the day. So it's just really interesting. Like, okay, so let's get back to her boyfriend, Lucas, who is a bit of a twat. Mm-hmm. Not a twat, he's a twat. This man is like, now you have to understand, they've all been shipwrecked. Him and Mia probably killed Zach. This man's like literally talking trash. I mean, he is spilling the tea on this girl saying, I paid for your life. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have anything. Would you, Jen? What are you going to do?
Without me,
shit. Without me, you're nothing. And she's like, I'm trying to tell you there's a monster eating people at night. But Jen, let's talk about our relationship. And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
This is not the time. I don't care if there wasn't a monster there. Like, this is not the time talking about like us, like our problems in the relationship.
Yeah, if I was dating him, I probably would have gone to the shore and say, hey, come on, take me. I'm done with this shit. That man was trash. And then the Mia girl that was with him, what's really interesting is I think they were talking about Zach and they kind of applied something happened with Zach and she said, oh, she's going like Zach was. So that tells me when they were the three of them were on the raft, Mia, Lucas, and Zach, maybe he was going, because sometimes you get a little crazy when you're at sea too long and dehydrated, and he may have tried to attack them and they ended up stabbing him or something. Because the inside of the raft was covered with blood too. So it was the pocket knife in the raft. So when Mia hits Jen in the head for trying to take the raft and leaving, which I guess technically it's a good thing she didn't go because the monster, he can come out during the day. So she tied her to a tree and they were talking. But it was really interesting to me that everything turned to, let's talk about our relationship and our friendship and how you didn't have a good time on this trip. And I'm like, like these priorities are
about you, isn't it? Everything's about you. If you don't want to go somewhere, you're the one that got robbed. You're the one that made the storm happen. So now we're shipwrecked. I'm like, this is not the time.
Yep, they're like, you're a habitual liar. You just fabricate everything. Told me, I mean, right before this trip, you lied about being mugged. And I'm like, how is this relevant to what's going on right now with this monster? And they didn't believe her. And I knew as soon as a character doesn't believe you, and she even showed them the picture with the eye, the woman in the picture with the eyes. I knew the moment they didn't believe her, one of them was about to die. That's how they make a believer out of you. You don't believe it?
Either one or both are going to die, and
Yep.
both of them actually did die.
Yep.
Which is always such sweet rapture in a movie when somebody's telling you things like, "No, we got to get out of here because there's a monster and it's happening." Oh, you don't believe me? And then the monster just drags them away. It's like, oh, you should have listened, and now look at you, you're dead.
Well, what's so funny about Mia's death is she just listened to Jen say that a monster's coming from the ocean, and this woman's walking on the edge of the ocean, just like chilling, like she's on the beach.
Yeah. They don't believe her because they think they're safe.
Yep. So she's just like, ah. But I mean, even still, in the middle of the night, you don't know what's in that water. I mean, it could be like jellyfish that's bad. You know, I mean, you don't know what's out there. She's just like walking along the beach, and then she gets grabbed, and Lucas tries to save her. Jen can't do a lot because she's still tied to the tree. None of them thought to untie her. Even Lucas, who's her boyfriend, didn't think I should untie my woman and protect her. No, let me go run and save Mia, who's a dumbass, who's at the edge of the water, and try, and she gets dragged off. And then he's so scared. Didn't he climb a tree? Wasn't he in a tree? He was up a tree. He was up a tree. I'm like, he's such a good protector. But I do have a question. Maybe you can answer this. So when they decide to leave after Mia gets taken, they get on the raft. And they're going, and of course, Jen's looking at all the blood in the raft, and she's about to ask about, she's about to like, what is this, when they're on the raft, and she gets taken down by the monster because he comes up and he makes a hole and he grabs her. The two questions that pop in my head are this. Number one, so she manages to stab the monster with the pocket knife she gets from Lucas. Did Lucas jump out of the raft to come save her? Is that why he was already in the water?
I want to say yes. I want to say he went out there to go get her. Okay. And that's how the monster saw that and then just took him.
Okay, because he bypassed her and went right to him and then dragged him into the hole. Okay.
Right, like this bitch just stabbed me. Okay, bye. Let me go get this.
I'll get her later. I can only fight her at night. Okay, and then my second question is the raft itself. This monster made a gash. I mean, a man-sized hole in this raft.
You were going to say this.
So at the end of the movie, when you see her take the head of the monster and she's going towards the raft, how the hell did she think she would get off the island with no sewing kit, no way of patching this hole? And she's going to get in this leaky ass raft and just go along.
I knew you were going to say that because my question was similar to that. Why didn't the raft sink when he put the hole in it the first? Like, you have both of their body weights before he grabbed her. Where you have both of their body weights. You're telling me that raft did not sink?
And it's inflatable. It wasn't even a wooden raft.
Like, I had so many questions, but I don't know. But as far as like the ending, when she, cut his head off and she was about to, I guess, get in the raft and go wherever, we've seen her be pretty resourceful. Like this chick set up a whole, like, I don't know, a trap for the monster with just nothing but sticks and bones.
Yeah,
like,
she was MacGyver.
She's a MacGyver. I don't know what kind of like survivor instinct she has, but they are strong with that one. So maybe she, I don't know, pulls something out of her ass and she got back to civilization.
She pulled something out of her ass. It's just, for me, I find it weird because, like, first of all, I'm impressed that there were not a lot of sharks. There was a baby shark she got. I'm really impressed that there were not a lot of aggressive sharks out there too. Number one, when she was swimming back and forth in the ocean all this damn time. And number two, when they were on the raft itself, because you don't just have to worry about the monster in the water. You got to worry about tiger sharks and great white sharks because they are aggressive and you're in a little floaty and they can bite it one time and then you're lunch. So I just did not understand. I did not understand how she was going to fix that raft because, I mean, she's very resourceful, but I mean, the jungle leaves aren't going to patch it up. So I don't know. There's no material to fix it with.
I was going to say she just took the leaves, licked them, and just stuck them on there.
So
That's how
so yeah, I
it.
call BS on that. And then why not just stay on the island? The whole island's on fucking fire at this point. Just be like, hey, fire, come get me.
Yeah.
With the plane that flies over every night that she misses.
The same plane too. It just does
Yeah.
not want her on there. It's like,
It
we know
saw
you're
her.
there.
It saw her that first night. It was like, nah, we're not subscribing to this. Like,
Well, here's the crazy part. Like, I get the dude, um Brad, no, Lucas. I get Lucas, being terrified and stuff, but he shot off that flare in, in the raft. That could have went one of two ways. I don't understand I understand you're panicking, but she had the knife with her the entire time, and she had you guys had plenty like of time to just kind of like kick them or stab them or whatever. Why would you use both flares? She only had two left. You used both flares, and you could have just burnt all of you guys up, and no one would fucking survive.
because he didn't realize that helium was flammable. Like,
I mean,
I mean, Lucas was not making the best choices in this movie to begin with. I mean, they killed Zach. They were eating food that she gave them, not that they brought themselves. Because she found food in a cooler that had Coca-Cola in it, and she was sharing. And it was very obvious that they didn't have survival skills. They just were able to kill people. So that they think were crazy or hit them, in the head and knocking them out. That's pretty much what they accomplished. Or are talking mad trash, like saying you have no life without me. I'm your money bags. You got nothing. What you gonna do, Jen? Get a job? Yeah, this woman just rigged an island, like MacGyver style. Yeah, she can get a job. She's fine. She's gonna be okay.
she survived on that entire island by herself and didn't cry once.
Not one
Like,
time.
not. I would have freaked out the most. I'd just be sitting there boohooing, probably terrified to even try to catch fish.
That's true. Well, the UFOs would have got us long before the monster. We in the middle of nowhere. We in good land.
That's true.
But no, it was so weird. And then I have questions about the family, and she finds a picture of this couple, and I swear at first I looked at it, I thought one was her and her boyfriend in the picture, and I'm like, oh, have they been here on this island? Is this like the outer limits of the Twilight Zone? Maybe this really isn't happening. Maybe this is all in her mind. And I'm like, what's the significance of the family that was there and the pictures that she found, in that purse? And then there were pills in the purse. Yeah, I was really curious. What probably happened, if I'm gonna have a theory about how the family died, if that was their campsite, I bet you whoever the mother or the father that was there, probably made them all take pills and die, and then sleeping pills or whatever those pills were, overdose on those pills, and then it didn't matter if the monster came and dragged them because they were already dead. That's how I think they got off the island. They probably killed themselves.
Well, they didn't really get off the island. They just killed themselves on the island.
Their spirits, their souls went to the live stream. I'm agnostic, so I don't really know how any of this works, but but something happened spiritually, and they went up, and then their bodies got eaten. But I mean, that's the only way I can think of, because like there was no wreckage, there were no ripped clothes, there was no blood. Like, it literally just seemed like he came, picked them up, and dragged them out. And I can't see them not putting up that much of a fight. I think they probably did. Maybe one of them got attacked first, and they realized it was out there, and then they didn't want to have to keep hiding. And so they just, it's kind of like if you ever watched that show or the original movie, I think it's called The Mist, how he, makes all of them kill itself, and then like 2 minutes later, the help comes. Yeah. So I wonder if that's what happened in that movie. So, I mean, I always like to theorize, because there's not that. The one thing I will say that I wish they had done in this movie is to give us more context on the other people and then what they went through and how they struggled. Because I know it was very ambiguous when you kept seeing these pictures and all this stuff around, and it was like, but what happened?
I wonder if that's why they didn't do it, just to leave, because I guess in the end, and to quote Linkin Park, it doesn't even matter. Because I guess it's just for her survival. Like, the only thing she needs to know is like, yeah, there was people here beforehand, and this monster is real, and it killed them, or they died on this island. I guess they're not leaving up too much to backstory or myths because we don't know why the monster is there. We don't know why the hole is there. We don't know where the monster came from. Like nothing. That there's a monster, lives in the ocean, comes on this island and eat people.
Yeah. Well, then
And
that
that
brings me to another question. If that monster was in the hole, were other monsters in the hole?
I had that same question. Like, what makes him so special? Is he the only one there,
Yeah, is he the
or
last
is
of his breed or whatever, his
yeah,
kind? But
or is he bringing food back to his family?
yep, he could be the hunter gatherer. For all we know, every member of the family could be coming a different night. We don't know. Like
Yeah,
we don't
because that monster,
know. I
every time
mean,
he stabbed him, he healed pretty fast.
yep. So I'm curious. I'm curious if there's more than one of them. She's gonna get out there. That would have been a very interesting way of ending it. She's like, I got the head. I got my raft with the hole in it that's somehow still floating. I'm sailing west because apparently west is where the plane is heading. And then I go over the hole, and then like 2 or 3 of them come out and be like, where you going? Like,
That would have been so it's so fun to see. Just like bodies like emerging, like more than one body emerging from like the water, and
yeah.
it's just like another fight is on. It's like, oh, well, fuck. At that
That
point,
was,
just kill me. I'm fine. you know what? I'll do it myself. There you go. Easy prey.
I really did enjoy this movie, and I love that it was. I think her name is pronounced Kirstie Clemens. She, like you remember her from Dope. I know she was in this Netflix show that I loved called Easy. And she is, or was, I don't know if she still is, Iris West in the DCEU. She will be in Zack Snyder's Justice League Uncut. I'm going to call them episodes because that's pretty much what they are. We are going to see Iris West in them, which is going to be very odd if they don't have her, if they're recasting her in the, Flash Forward movie or Flashpoint movie, because Flashpoint Iris, if it's different, she's gonna be recast before Flashpoint happens, so it's not gonna make a lot of sense why these actors look this way. I guess they're just kind of banking on maybe people aren't gonna watch the HBO Max episodes that Zack Snyder's doing. But in all intents and purposes, she was the original DCEU Iris West, and she had a cameo in Justice League. And we never got to see it, so we are going to see it on HBO Max. So I am excited. And I just think she's a very good actress. I like her a lot. And
I hope they don't recast her because she's such a good actress. She has such she can play more than one role.
She did. And I mean, even I really loved her. Like you could see she was obviously scared, but you could also see she was getting angry. Like as the days went by, she was getting more and more ticked off, to the point where she wrote in her journal in the movie, and she's like, I'm writing this, in case nobody believes me, you're stuck on this island. Basically you're gonna die because there's a monster on this island that's gonna eat you at night. And so she wrote this whole thing.
Her frustration with her boyfriend and Mia was like that's so realistic because you're on this island and they're telling you like, hey, we're not going back in this life raft. No, I don't think you understand. There is a monster on this island, and she was willing to fare the seas by her damn self, which is something that I would probably do as well. It's like, okay, you guys don't believe me, I'm getting off this island. What?
Yeah,
her frustration was so real.
Yeah, I would have been like, okay, you don't believe me? I can prove it. Put Mia out here. Like, let Mia sit right there in that spot tonight. We'll go hide. If something grabs her, I'm right. If you believe nothing's going to happen and nothing doesn't grab her, then then we'll stay. Like, let's see what happens. That's horrible. I probably wouldn't do that. I'd be thinking it, though. I did not like Mia. Mia was kind of... it was very obvious that Mia was getting very close to Lucas. Because I guess they shared that bond of murdering Zach. But he's like, my girlfriend's on this island. Like, Jen is his girlfriend, but he was spending more time walking around and making sure that Mia was okay. So I thought that was interesting. So yeah, Lucas was he was a tool. But I will give him props if he did jump in the water to save her when she was pulled out of the raft. Then that's pretty cool. I will give him that. Unfortunately, it only lasted for 30 seconds because he got grabbed and shot in the hole. But for those 30 seconds, he was a real man.
Which is funny because I don't know where that strength came from. Because, like you say, on the island, he was hiding in the tree.
Yep. He was hiding big time. I was very excited for that, actually. I thought that was flipping hilarious. I want to know how he got up there, because it was hard for her to get up there to get the hammock. So how did he climb up that tree so fast? And how did it support his weight? Some of those trees were pretty skinny. But,
Oh, the power of fear.
it does many, many mighty things.
Hmm.
But yeah, these are the questions that I have. Can you think of anything else that you thought was weird? Or at least you wish they had explained more in the movie?
Well, not necessarily weird, but I do like. So I like the way she set up everything for the monster. Like when she was about to attack it, I'm wondering how come. Um, I don't know. It just seemed like there was ample amounts of time where she was getting like herself prepared, and obviously we knew the monster did not only hunt at night; it hunted during the day. So is it just not going inland because she had time to set up an entire like trap for it, and when it went to the campsite and he realized, okay, she's not there. Oh, I hear something over there. I see fire or whatever it was over here. Let me go over here. Like it seems like the monster is smart but dumb all at the same
Yeah,
time.
I agree with that. I agree. He let her do a lot of stuff during the day. Like I said, she was out there fishing. She was actually getting food, and fishing. And the monster never came up and was like, surprise! He
Did
I
you
don't
think it
know.
was weird? Did you think it was weird that he had this? And I don't know if it's some kind of way of hearing or sensing, but he had this noise that he made that always sounded like laughter to me. Um, that's the crazy part. He had like this noise that sounded like laughing, or I don't know.
Sounded like it. Didn't it sound like kind of like a laughing hyena mixed with an elephant? Like,
I'm thinking like a hyena mixed with a dolphin.
oh yeah, it was
It
definitely. I could definitely get some flipper elements in there. Yeah, like,
was, yes, I
yeah.
was like,
Well,
is
I
he
don't know what he
taunting
left.
her?
Maybe he's talking. Well, then that makes you wonder who he's talking to, and it also makes you wonder why he was letting people know he was there. If he was really being like all stealthy and stuff, why are you announcing yourself? I'm like, you know what I mean? Like when you first
Right.
saw him standing in the ocean and she had the flare up, he just standing there. Why didn't he just rush her in and be like, I got you? She had no way. She was so in shock. She really didn't have a way of reacting at that time. And he does come on
Mhm.
land and she does go and hide. But she had been in that camp, like laying down in that tent that she had, that she found, a long time until that plane. It was dark. He could have come at
Mm,
any time and grabbed her, and he didn't. So
mm,
it was almost
mm,
like the monster wasn't really trying to get her. Not hard.
yeah. Maybe it's because like every now and again she baited him. Like he knew she was. I don't know if he knew she was baiting him. He had to know because she had the she dug up Brad's body and baited him with that. She caught a shark, a little baby shark, and baited him with that while she's hiding underneath this really shitty trap. It's just she dug a hole in the sand and she covered it with leaf. Like, how did you not see that? I
I know.
don't
I
understand.
mean, you figured out she was in the log, but you didn't see her right there. Like, well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this: the monster of the sea had a Twitter account. She was the only minority in the whole movie. She was black, so Black Lives Matter. He was scared of the BLM, like as people that claim our blackness. He was scared of the wrath, so he was like, "Ah, I gotta be careful. Got to tread lightly with this one."
You're right. You're right about that one. He did not want that at all.
Nope, he didn't. He did not. He's like, I mean, she looks tasty, but I don't know if I need that drama in my life. Got to keep my
Like
followers.
I need to give black people a fighting chance in horror movies for once. So yeah.
That's what that is. He said, "You will not be the first to die in this one, not today." But I was like, but the whole time she kept looking at the water, and I'm like, she was like, okay, so she realized that the monster didn't come out during the day, right? But
Hmm.
that first night she saw it. How did she know it wasn't coming out, the next morning? She just crawls out and walks around and just goes about her little errands of setting stuff up and finding the shark. Or I think she caught the shark the third day. But, finding all the materials and all that stuff. And I'm just like, but how did you know he wasn't going to come back? You just
Yeah,
discovered
it's
this thing last night.
women out to go through, stuff that's washing up. Like I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
she was just afraid. Maybe she didn't care. Maybe she was only terrified at night and she was fine during the day.
We'll go with that because I don't know any other explanation for that at all. That's the thing. Even when we love movies, guys, we got to be real here. You got to have consistency somewhere, and some of the stuff was just very questionable. So we had to point that out. But if you were going to rate this, how many freakies would you give it?
I'd give it 3 freakies because that monster, the initial introduction of the monster, like made my heart sink. And I didn't watch the trailer, so when I saw it, I was, oh shit, you. But I give it 3 freakies because that monster was resilient. She kept stabbing him, and he didn't care. He came up there, and he was getting it. So 3 freakies for me.
Okay, I'm gonna give it 2.5. 2.5 are actually all for Jen. The half is because the monster was an idiot. The planes did not fly during the day. And I am not going to believe that raft would not sink when she got on it with the head. I'm just saying. I'm not going to believe that. The weight from the head should sink it. Yeah.
Because this is literally your fear.
It's my fear. It is. I mean, it would be 3 because of that. It's just that, I really feel like the raft is what's messing with my head the most out of all of this. It should never made it back to the shore. And she should not be going to this raft with this head that probably weighs more than her body, putting it into this inflatable raft with a hole this big, and then selling off in the middle of the evening.
She's going to plug it up with the head. That's what's going to happen.
Okay. Well, if there are other creatures like that down there, I'm pretty sure that they will definitely spit that out. And so she's already making herself. And then she's also selling off at night. You don't sell off at night. Everybody knows. You watch Shark Week. You don't sell at night in the ocean. What's wrong with you?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. They're gonna smell it and be like, that smells like. Where is he going?
Plus, he's got that black blood leaking in the damn thing through the hole, so it's going to attract every creature in the ocean. Whales, sharks, everything's coming out. Octopus, they're all coming after her. So yeah, she just opened up a whole other movie. We've gone from, Sweetheart to something like Open Water now. They all be following her, So yeah, that's why the movie itself gets 2.5, but she gets a 3, but everything else gets a 2.5.
Now all the questions get 2.5.
Yeah, all the questions get 2.5. But yeah, so guys, that is our Freaky Weekly Sweetheart podcast style review. We hope you liked it. Make sure you like and subscribe if you are not subscribed, and definitely make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we post again. Again, Quarter Life Jam has a channel. She does a marvelous, wonderful podcast. I love it. So check it out at her YouTube channel, Quarter Life Jam. And we will be reviewing another movie next week. If you have any suggestions on movies you would like for us to review, please leave a comment below and let us know. And as much as I hate to say it, the party must end. Or does it? Check you later.
Ooh.
Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. But hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.